pleasure to be your judge for this afternoon. This is my favorite part of the whole competition because it's mind-bending when you work on a 30-minute research, a 30-minute, and then you're asked to talk for 10, and now you're asked to talk for 90 seconds. It seems like an outrageous thing to ask of people. And yet it has paid off in the past in this competition wonderfully. I mean, people really zoom in on what's most important, and it has a way of focusing the mind. And so the fiction that we've offered is that it's a business meeting, and you're going to have to remind us, because you all have different audiences. You're going to remind us right on the front end before I press start who we are around this table. And your fellow competitors are going to be part of your fiction. And we've got lots of business at this meeting, and you wanted a chance to speak up, and we're giving you that chance, but I'm sorry, you can only have 90 seconds, and then we got to move on to other business. Fairly much like some business meetings. So with that in mind, why don't we see if my little clock works? Okay. Are there any questions about what's being asked of you? Essentially, you're getting right to the essence of your case and your recommendation. All right. With that in mind, then let's start with Loyola Marymount. One, tell us who we are.
So you're going to be the Blackstone Group, the board of directors of the Blackstone Group, who are the primary shareholders of SeaWorld Entertainment.
Okay, so we're essentially the primary shareholders of SeaWorld Entertainment.
Right, so basically the owners.
The owners, okay. Are you ready?
Yes, do I look at the time?
I'll do the time.
Okay.
Oh, do you,
Oh, it's okay, just whatever.
I mean, there's so few seconds. It almost doesn't, you waste a second looking at the clock.
It's okay.
And if it goes off when you're still talking, just finish your point.
Okay.
Okay, you may begin.
So we've been talking a lot today about SeaWorld and how we want you to be a leader in freeing orcas to improve brand image and increase revenue. But let's not ignore the ethical issue. Think about it this way. In the wild, orcas swim over 100 miles a day. They need room to move. But as highly intelligent beings, captivity simply does not provide them with a stimulating environment where they can thrive. Not only is their captive situation hurting them, but it's hurting humans as well. In captivity, there have been numerous incidents between orcas and trainers where trainers have been injured and even killed. What's most surprising is that these incidents occur during regular, routine, and even recommended training sessions. I take a look at our guiding principles, and I see that we've committed ourselves to excellence while also adhering to an ethical code of conduct. Our guests trust us to provide them with not only rich entertainment, but a safe educational experience as well. And quite simply, we are not doing so. What the ethical issue comes down to is this. We are knowingly placing our trainers in potentially harmful situations while subjecting our orcas to a dramatically unfulfilling life. Knowing what I know now, I would not go with my family or friends to SeaWorld, and that should speak volumes. Sure, we have values that say we care about the natural world and are committed to the safety of our team and our guests. However, words don't make a great company, actions do. We are a great corporation committed to the welfare and safety of all parties involved, and it's time that we take the steps to prove it. Thank you.
Thank you. That's 6 seconds to spare.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and you need to run off.
Oh, okay, so actually it's my team that needs to
Your
run
team
off,
is here?
so I can stay.
Oh, you can stay?
Yeah, I can
Wonderful.
stay for like my
That's
team just needs
terrific, because I was going to save my feedback to people to the end.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
Thank you.
so.
Got it.
All right. So you can do this.
All right, we want to switch places so I can get my presentation there.
Well, actually, if you just go back a little bit, because the team that this gentleman is on desperately wants to see him. But we still need to maintain the fiction, so just Scoot back a little.
Thank you.
All right, so the next team is Montgomery College.
Fantastic. Yes. So the basic overview for this is a Take-Two Interactive, and we are a game developer. We produce games worldwide, and so that's where one of the problems lies that I'm going to talk about today.
A game?
A video game.
Video game, okay. And who are we?
Board of directors, just a director meeting.
Of the video game
Of the company,
producer.
Take-Two Interactive, yes.
Got it.
Perfect.
All right, you start now.
Today, I need to talk to you all about an ethical problem that is threatening the well-being and long-term sustainability of our company. And that issue lies in the world's best-selling game, Grand Theft Auto. Now, Grand Theft Auto, the problem is this, that people who play the game, the only way that they can succeed is if they're committing senseless acts of violence and harming their community. There's no way around it. And of course, this is an ethical issue within the game, but it's actually threatening the company as a whole. And it's easy to see because we are the most sued company in the video game industry. And that's deteriorating our public image, but also people are linking the violence in our game and the malintent behind it to cases like Aaron Alexis, who played our game, was addicted to Grand Theft Auto, who actually went out and in this article and shot a bunch of people at the Navy Yard, who shot a bunch of innocent people. And people are making that association between video games and violence in the world and our game Grand Theft Auto, and we don't want that. That hurts our company. So the only possible solution to address this issue that's tearing us apart very slowly is not to take away Grand Theft Auto, that's our best-selling game, not to change the title of the game because it's become an icon brand, but to change simply the storyline within the game. Keep that underworld criminal feel that people love, keep that name, that brand, Grand Theft Auto, but change the storyline from meaningless violence to meaningful justice. Put justice, values, honor, people can stand for behind what the main character is doing within the game, sets our company ethically straight, eliminates our legal trouble, and expands our target market.
Thank you very much. It's bothering me. It's bugging me. Okay, let's move on to Navarra, University
Here I am.
Navarra. I recognize you. And you want to tell us who we are?
So the role play here is you are the board of directors of Johnson & Johnson. I think everyone knows Johnson & Johnson, #1 medical device producer in the world. And I am a victim of their ASR hip implants.
ASR hip implants.
Yeah, it's hip implants.
Speaking as someone with a new knee implant, I can identify with the idea. It's not a J&J implant, though. Okay, so you're talking to the board, and you're a victim. You're not an employee.
I'm not an employee.
Okay. You start as you wish. Now.
My grandmother has always been special. She has lived in a very small town in the north part of Spain, near the mountains, her entire life. Every Sunday, she took me and my sister hiking to the mountain. Sorry.
It's all right, it'll come back. Just relax.
I'm too nervous, sorry. I'm so sorry.
Mire, no pasa nada, ya está.
Okay, I'll start again. Okay. No, doesn't matter. Let it run out. I'm out of competition. My grandmother has always been special. She has always lived in a very small town in the north part of Spain near the mountains. Every Sunday, doesn't matter what, she took me and my sister hiking with her. 8 years ago, she had an accident. Her hip broke and needed to be replaced. She feared that her days chasing me and my sister under the sun were coming to an end. Our surgeon looked her in the eyes, took her hand, and guaranteed her that Johnson & Johnson's metal hip implant will make her fears vanish away. Like my grandmother, thousands of patients around the world trusted your company and put their health in your company's hands. Today, my grandmother can walk. In fact, she cannot even stand up on her own. Instead of living up to the trust she gave you, you failed all the patients 3 times. First, when you launched to the market a clinically untested device using a regulatory loophole. Second, when the implant started failing, instead of recognizing the wrongdoing and recalling the product, you blamed the surgeons for their lack of ability. Third, when last week you announced a global recall program and a settlement agreement that covers only a small share of claimants and that does not compensate them for all the pain they have suffered. I will never forget how 34 years ago, your company responded ethically to the challenges of the Tylenol scandal, putting your credo and the patient's health in the first line. Today, I can now understand how your company can forget of an old, poor, and scared woman that relied on you to walk again. Thank you.
Thanks for hanging in there. I know what it's like. Go blank. It's terrible for my students in the classroom. Santa Barbara.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going. 90 seconds at a time. Tell us who we are.
All right, so first of all, I'm really happy to be here. I just wanted to say that. I know it's cheesy, but this is my last speech as a City College student, so thanks for being here. You guys are going to be the board of directors of Chesapeake Energy, one of the biggest fracking companies in America, and I'm going to be speaking to you regarding some of my ethical concerns. So
we're the board.
Absolutely.
It's about fracking.
Yes. We went with a non-controversial topic. All right. So, colleagues, I'm growing increasingly concerned that we haven't done nearly enough to take into consideration the human and environmental impact of our new fracking operation planned in Greeley, Colorado. Now, in order to accent this point, I wanted to bring a sample of water from Greeley, Colorado, in order for contrast. Now, the reason that this is such an important concern is because our fracking operation plans to inject between 500 and 600 toxic chemicals in high concentrations alongside 30 million gallons of water. Now, this poses a significant threat to the Eagle River watershed, a crucial water resource for Colorado and ecosystems as well as humans that depend on it. Now, what I want to ask of you, my colleagues, is not to drink this water, please, but to change it. We need to change our ethical standards. We need to consider the effect that fracking fluids can have on water resources. I implore you to take home this point. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Watch where you put that water, sir. Okay, Marywood.
Okay, so this is also about fracking.
Oh.
So same board of directors talking to you guys about going into
Same
fracking.
company?
No,
No.
just a nameless company.
All right.
Entering into the Pennsylvania market, going into there, and knowing other competitors have been there already.
All right. Thank you. And you may begin.
As we have all discussed earlier, hydraulic fracking is an extremely lucrative business, so we're looking to go forward into the Pennsylvania market with that. But I want you guys to understand there are extreme ethical problems that exist within this, so we cannot turn our blinders to it any longer. There are current loopholes that exist in the regulatory standards throughout the industry that we, as long as our competitors, are following. And within those loopholes, we are going against and hurting environmental and safety concerns within those people. While this is not technically illegal, we can't any longer stand by and allow this to happen knowing that we're having these adverse effects on the environment. The purpose of these laws are in place to set the safety standards for people and for the environment. And we are undermining the spirit of these laws by only following through the loopholes that we have created for ourselves within them. These local communities are the stakeholders within our industry. These local, and they are also our customers. And if we are undermining them by having our product be harvested at such a drastic degree that hurts the environment, what do we stand for as a company? We have to look at ourselves as that. What do we stand for? What kind of company do we desire to be? Is this the one that we desire to be, or do we desire to be a greater one, greater than our competitors? We want to set the bar, not stay at the bar. We want to set a new paradigm, not live within the existing one. These new natural resources that we are using within our company are going to dry up. Eventually, we need to look forward and set the bar higher as we continue on looking for new energy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, Loyola has sent 2 teams, but one is in the full competition. The other is here for the experience, and that's you.
That's me.
And so we want to give you that experience. Who are we going to be?
Possible for me to move into the
Sure.
table area?
Maybe you could trade.
That's what I was going to do. So I can at least feel like I'm in the boardroom
Feel like you're in
experience.
the boardroom. Absolutely.
Okay. I'm going to be using this as a prop, so just letting you know. That's the reason it's up. So you guys are going to be, you're going to be Google's senior management, and we're going to be talking about Google Glass, which is Google Glass. All right.
Okay.
And
So we are senior management.
senior
Not
management,
board.
not the board.
Got it.
Right.
All right, you may begin.
Right. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but I want to talk about the two ethical dilemmas regarding Google Glass in light of its recent launch to the public. The two issues which are brought up by the public and by multiple national governments are invasion of privacy and driving distractions. Invasion of privacy revolves around the idea of consent. If you don't consent to being videotaped or taken a photo of, that's considered illegal. So for example, if I use my phone and I just do this, you have a basic idea I'm recording you. Same if there's a surveillance camera in the room, if there was one, they're legally required to have a sign that says 24-hour surveillance. Now I've been recording you this entire meeting. Did you notice? Could you? If not, there's a problem. And for driving distractions, the same thing with the phone. So if I look down at the phone, or if I look up with the Google Glass, that increases the risk of, accidents. However, with the Google Glass, there are, because it's always on your head, there are unique ways of dealing with the problem that you couldn't do with the phone. Now, you may be wondering to yourself, should we care? Isn't this the consumer's responsibility? However, our culture mantra, do no evil, and our commitment to customer first means we have to deal with these issues to make a safer product. Thank you.
That's fun. Is that a real Google Glass?
It's a Google Glass. In fact, I was not actually recording, for the record.
Does it set off an alarm if someone rips it off of your face and takes it off? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm glad you had an opportunity. Glad you all had an opportunity. So, you're not supposed to start a sentence with "so." I'm not sure I can give a lot of feedback to each party, but I did take some notes here. And with Loyola Marymount, the SeaWorld captivity, you only had 90 seconds, and you needed to get some moral urgency across about the orcas and human beings and the code and the importance of entertainment and education at SeaWorld. And you got across the idea that we're failing. But I was hoping to hear more. I wanted to hear something actionable. And no doubt in your 10-minute or your 30-minute, you had plenty to say about that. But in the 90-second, we were left hanging with no action, just guilt. or just concern, moral concern. And so I think it would have been stronger if you had, even in a sentence or sentence or two at the most, got something actionable into the presentation so that we could do something with our moral concern. Does that make sense? Okay. Montgomery, video game, Grand Theft Auto. I was relieved when you said that we didn't have to stop selling it. I was taken deeply with your challenge that we are succeeding through violence. We're the most sued company, and we're beginning to see there might be some behavioral connections between these games and the players in the real world. Just for your information, in the Supreme Court case over the laws about California's video game, as you probably are aware, one of the dissenting judges, Alito, pointed out that more and more the line between video games and training is being crossed.
Right.
And the moment we move from gaming to training, the whole thing about First Amendment protection starts to evaporate. So it's a fascinating choice of issues, as is yours. All of these issues I found really cool. Your solution, you got it in near the end, as inevitably it's hard to do, was to, if I was hearing you correctly, it was to change what you got points for. I mean, how do you succeed at this game? You can rack up violence points, or you can rack up justice points. Is that what you were getting at?
The idea was not to change Grand Theft Auto, because that's perfectly, you said, it's one of our best-selling products. But the storyline changes with each of the games, Grand Theft Auto 1, 2, 3, or 5. But the next game, make it centered on like values that, like you said, matter in the real world,
Right.
whereas they can stay down here. So, like, yeah, justice in that case.
Good. I found that interesting. Navarra, J&J Ford. My sympathies for getting stuck, and it happens to everybody. But it's a fascinating issue, and I wasn't joking when I said it matters to me. Your grandmother. That entered a great deal of moral emotion into the picture. She trusted you and you failed her. And because of the time, you weren't able to give us your solution, your action items. And had you been able to do that, I'm sure it would have been much stronger. But it's a very compelling issue when you consider the fact that J&J was a paradigm, as you pointed out. Because of Tylenol, and that story gets repeated ad nauseum these days. But J&J has lost some of its luster from an ethical point of view, and your case helps us to see that. So great choice of cases. Santa Barbara. Very nice use of visual aids. Compelling issue in terms of the potential social implications of this technology. Not unlike the Loyola SeaWorld case, I wanted to hear a little more about the action item. And what I heard was change it, but I didn't know what to change it to, and you didn't have 30 minutes to tell me. But I would have liked, if I'm on the board and our company is profiting from this, it sounds to me like the change is going to have to be pretty huge.
Certainly.
Because
yes.
we're committed somehow to this, and you need to help us, show us a way out of the fly bottle. We're in this fly bottle buzzing around within fracking, and there's only one way out, and you need to help us see that it's even feasible. And that would be my only complaint. I thought that the setting up of the moral issue was compelling and even very creative. So thank you for that. Marywood, same issue. Pennsylvania market, ethical problems, and the ethical problem's a little different from your compatriot here in the sense that you're pointing to exploiting of loopholes. And so the action item is presumably going to have something to do with not doing that, okay, not exploiting the loopholes. I still am a little in the dark as to which loopholes we're talking about and whether it's feasible for us to do it. Your final appeal was what do we stand for, and again, I think even one sentence devoted to how we could maintain our corporation without just declaring Chapter 11, going home, and still maintaining our integrity at the same time. That would have helped me. And I realized that your 30-minute presentation might well have had a very elaborate action plan, and I wouldn't. In the 90-second, the challenge is always, how do I get at least a hint of what the solution is so that there's some light at the end of the tunnel for the people I'm talking to. And the Google class, nice job. We got to be senior management this time. You distinguished the two issues nicely, the privacy issue and the distraction issue for driving. Customer first, do no evil. I wanted more, as you can guess. I wanted more about how we maintain our do no evil practice here, because in a way, the market appeal of this product would almost have to be lost in order to repair the moral issue. I mean, there's a real tension between the economic value of this product and its potential for moral abuse, or for not moral abuse, but socially negative side effects. Fair. And so it put me in an awkward place again about how are we ever going to get out from under that dilemma? And you have some ideas about that. You must have presented them in your longer presentations.
Yeah.
Good. Yes.
I just wanted to point out, we were just chatting, but like we were instructed for this presentation not to offer a solution, but to frame the ethical dilemmas, which is why I think 90% of the groups here don't actually have a solution, because we weren't supposed to. We're just supposed to say these are the problems that the company currently faces. So everyone else kind of was under those.
Okay. Well, if that's, was that the understanding you had?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, then that's good for me to know. It seems to me that getting the moral issue out on the table is certainly a central issue. But if there's no hope of a solution, I just don't understand how the 90-second thing can be effective. But then, if that's what you were told, then we have to go by what you were told. And I'll bear that in mind when I do my deliberations. So I appreciate your comment.
Of course.
Are there any other comments from the floor? Okay. Well, it sounds as if I was a little bit off kilter when it comes to the criteria that were given to you. So I will take that into account when I do my assessments. And if you have no more concerns, then we'll call it adjourned.
Thank you very much.